Wildlife, A Beginner's Guide to Adventure. We're really pleased to welcome our guest speaker, Rhiane Fatinikun. Thanks very much for joining us, Rhiane. She's the founder of Black Girls Hike and a group which started right here in Greater Manchester. We're delighted to have you. My name's Hilary. I'm here with my colleague, Ellie. We both work on the My Wild City project in Manchester. My Wild City has the aim of improving nature in Manchester, making Manchester a great city for nature and wildlife. And also it has the aim of helping people in Manchester to become more aware and more connected and more happy with the nature all around them. So that's a really, really important part of what we do. Before we start, I know everybody's really familiar with Zoom. Over the last few months, we've had enough practice, haven't we? So just to say a few housekeeping things, your cameras and your microphones will both be off throughout the entire event. This session will be recorded. So if you suddenly have to leave to go make a cup of tea or for some other reason, it will be made available for you afterwards. Tonight's talk is a bit different to our previous talks, if you've been to any of those, because tonight we want to encourage you to ask questions throughout the whole session rather than saving them to the end. So Rhianne's very bravely said that she's going to answer them throughout her talk as well as at the end, which is a challenge, I know, but I'm sure you'll make it easy for her. We hope you will. So yeah, any questions, put them either in the Q&A section, type them in, or put them in the chat. We'll be able to see them there as well. We're thinking this workshop will end about 6:45 tonight. So yes, I'll pass you on to Ellie, who I think's got a question for you.
Yeah, so just a really quick poll, which you hopefully should see now. So yeah, just a quick one. Do you get outside as often as you'd like to? So yeah, let us know. And as suspected, Hilary.
Yeah.
Most people don't get out as often as.
No, it says I can't vote as a panelist, but I would have pressed no. I don't get out as often as I'd like.
Would you just be outside all the time, Hilary, do you reckon?
More I'd come in for cups of tea.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, definitely. How about you, Rhiane? Do you get out as often as you'd like, do you think?
I think, yeah, I do, but then my motivation just comes in just dips a lot. So I do spend quite a lot of time, I've not been out for a whole week at the moment, but then sometimes I'll be out every single day.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah, just comes and goes.
Yeah, it just comes and goes.
Yeah,
great. I will end it there. So yeah, 27% of people say that they do get out as often as they'd like. Lucky you, that's fantastic to hear. And 73% of you say that no, you don't get out as often as you'd like, so you'd like to get out more. So in that case, I guess this talk will be fantastic for you, and hopefully we'll all leave feeling inspired and ready to be getting outside more. So with that, I will hand over to lovely Rhiane.
Thank you. So most of you know that I am the founder of Black Girls Hike. Black Girls Hike was an organisation that I started at the beginning of 2019. And the idea is just basically to create a safe space where Black women can explore the outdoors and reconnect with nature, just because there's a lack of representation. A lot of people have a lack of exposure to the outdoors. So we initially started doing just group hikes. So our first hike was in Rochdale, and we had 14 people turn up, and it was actually my first ever hike, because when I set up the group, it was just kind of on a whim, and then I kind of just managed to get us to the end and just winged it, and I don't think anyone knew that I hadn't actually planned that route before, and then it kind of just took off from there. And then we got a group in the Midlands, and now we have a group in London as well. So besides hiking, we do other stuff. So we started doing some caving, we've done some gorge walking, some potholing and some climbing. So what we're hoping to do is kind of like introduce people to all different elements of the outdoors and basically like support them as they like develop into it. I've written loads of notes actually, because I feel like I talk about my group so much that I just say the same thing over and over again. So at the moment, what we're doing with Black Girls Hike is initially we did just start as like a hiking group, and it was just supposed to be kind of like a meetup, but it's just become a lot more than that. So now we're kind of like trying to work with the outdoor organizations and brands so that we can kind of help them overcome some of like the complex barriers that are limiting participation and kind of like make the outdoors a bit more inclusive. So at the moment, we work with the British Mountain Council and we're on their equity steering committee. And basically the idea is that we're supposed to kind of tell them what the issues that are faced by underrepresented groups are and like give them ideas on how to tackle it. But it's just such a complex thing. And I feel like these organizations, they just expect you to have the answer, and it's just not that simple, unfortunately. So in terms of me, I would say my journey into adventure is actually really new. So people ask me loads of questions all the time, and I think a lot of people think that I'm like some expert, but I literally, someone asks me a question and I'll just be in someone else's DMs on Instagram asking them, because I actually don't know everything. So I started hiking, like I said, like 2 years ago with the group. And I think that I just started exploring my local area a bit more because I live in Bolton. And I think mainly during last year, because of lockdown, I've kind of really got into like exploring. So I've started discovering loads of local trails, and I've also started doing some night hikes as well. And I think night hiking is a really good thing to help you reframe how you see winter. And I feel like it can make anything an adventure. Because I think that some people, when they think of adventuring, they think of things like Bear Grylls and like doing like really, really extreme things. But I think adventure can be anything. So adventure to me is anytime I'm doing anything that's new and kind of like reconnecting with nature. So at the beginning of lockdown last year, I got an allotment, and I used to go there every single day, and I absolutely loved it. And it was kind of like a little mini adventure at the time. And I just think that adventure can mean so much, like adventure can mean something different to everybody. And that's what I really like about it. So since I started doing my little adventure stuff, my mum actually always says to me, "Oh, you're still hiking?" Because I think that she thought it was just going to be like a really, really passing phase. So I've been to like most of the UK. I've been to Scotland, been to Wales, been to the Peak District quite a bit. I've been to the Lake District. I also kind of like got a bit of a bug, and I went to Brazil and did some hiking there, which was amazing. And it just kind of like opened up so many more opportunities to me. And now I just feel like adventure, it's just kind of like the possibilities are endless. And that's one of the things that I love about it so much. In terms of the group, how the group's developed, so we did just do kind of like hiking and just some outdoor activities, but now we are a non-profit organisation. So we're going to be able to kind of like get funding and do more sustained, meaningful projects, which I'm really looking forward to. Oh, that's a really refreshing way to look at the concept of adventure. Yeah, I like that as well. I've lost my train of thought now. Oh yeah. So we've turned into a non-profit. So we're going to be trying to do like some more kind of like meaningful projects. I would like us to get involved in a lot more outdoor activities, but I would also like to be able to support people in the development of that. So say we had someone in the group that wanted to get into climbing and become a climbing instructor, I would like to be able to kind of like get them those qualifications. So last year we started working with mountain training, so that we can kind of get people obviously trained up, because representation in the outdoors is very like white and middle class and very male. And when we ever have to hire instructors, that does tend to be the case. And what I'd like to see would be some more Black instructors. So we did a skills weekend last year, where I think it was like 6 members of our group got a certificate so they can do like navigation and they can plan walks. And then moving forward, we're going to have all of our leaders are going to become like mountain leaders, just so that we can kind of like run our own things eventually. And then on like a personal aspect for me, I think that the group, it's kind of like really inspired me, because sometimes I can't believe that all these people actually come and that people actually are interested in what I have to say. So last year I kind of like took the leap of faith and decided that I would quit my full-time job so that I could do this full-time, which was actually really, really, really nerve-wracking. But I also kind of feel like running the group and being part of the group, and the people that I've met in the group, they've kind of like really encouraged me and inspired me. And that was like one of the things that helped me. And I think that's one of the benefits of like being part of the community that I love the most. Where can we find the recording? Oh, you might need subtitles on this recording because I talk really fast.
No worries.
Yeah.
I'm just replying to you, Amina. It will be made available on our YouTube channel.
So the group, we've had loads of exposure, and we did get quite, off the back of Black Lives Matter, obviously, it just went absolutely crazy, but quite a lot of that is just kind of like absolutely fizzled out now. And I think that people have just lost interest, and a lot of that, unfortunately, was very kind of performative. And we were recently on Country File as well, which is one of the things that's been quite interesting running the group, which has been something that's been new, is dealing with trolls. So we get really badly trolled, which I don't know why I'm laughing, because I do just laugh at most of the comments now and just delete them. But at the beginning, it was really difficult because obviously we're just like a walking group, and it's not supposed to be something like that's like overly political or anything like that, but people make it that, and then obviously you then have to kind of like deal with that, but then also kind of learn to deal with that. And I think it kind of helps you grow as a person, really, because now just deleting these messages, but a few years ago I would have actually been replying like in capital letters. But I can't do that anymore.
Yeah, well, it's good by not giving those people making comments to you a voice, by just deleting them, then that's progress for you, isn't it?
Yeah, true. And I think as well, if these people enjoyed the outdoors and wanted it to be as inclusive as they say they would, and for everyone to enjoy it, then they wouldn't have a problem with our walking group, because there's absolutely loads of other places that the people can go to. So I think people are really just kind of being, what's the word? Oh, I can't think of the word, but it's like they're committed to kind of like misunderstanding. So sometimes there's like no educating some people, because, you know, we do live in the age of information. It's all there on the internet. If they wanted to look up and understand it, they could, but obviously they choose not to.
Yeah. And the most important thing is that you're getting on with what you and your group are doing, isn't it? That's the most important thing.
Yeah. And we're having like, and it's the impact as well. So we get like loads of DMs and loads of emails from people who say that we've like inspired them and things like that. And I just can't actually believe it sometimes that I created this organization where people say that it makes them feel inspired. It makes me feel really proud. But I'm also like get really excited when people message me to tell me that they're like planning an adventure, or they're going to go out for the first time, and then like they share pictures and stuff with us. It's really nice.
Yeah, I bet it is. I mean, it is. Yeah, well, it's brilliant, isn't it? It's brilliant. I think it's really good for people to hear your personal story about how you've done this, because, you know, so many of us feel that doing that, you know, setting something up is for other people. You know, we'll just get on with our day jobs and do something small at the weekend. But you've actually taken that plunge, left your job, and taken it all on. It's a massive risk, isn't it? So it's brilliant.
Yeah, isn't it? It's something that, it's not something that like I'm always confident with. So I do have moments where I'm like doubting myself and I'm thinking, oh, is this the right thing to do? And I would say that one of the main things has been the fact that I've had so many different people that have like helped me along the way, because you never even realize what like skill sets that everybody else has got, and everyone's got like their own little bit of knowledge. And I think that that's one of the things that's helped as well.
Yeah, good. Well, yeah, as always, it's joining together, isn't it?
Yeah.
And yeah, learning from other people.
Oh, we've got a question. It says, what more could government or national parks or areas of natural beauty do to help? See, I think the thing is with this, like I've spoken to loads of these organisations now, and now after I speak to the people that work at these organisations, I can see why they struggle to connect with these underrepresented communities, because these people are just kind of like so disconnected from our reality. But and obviously because it is very like white middle class, and they always get on the phone to you and say, well, I'm a white middle class man, and what do you think we should do? And I think, you know, the reason why you can't connect with these communities because you are not making these changes where they need to be made, like within like your management and your leadership. You need to have people that work in your organizations that know how to, you know, interact with people and engage these kind of communities. And I think that's one of the main issues. A lot of the organizations we've spoken to, they've mentioned like, oh, we're just going to like hire in a consultant, but then also that's not long term, is it? And another thing that I've been thinking about is, so all of a sudden this big push on like diversity, and everyone wants to be seen to be more inclusive, and we're just supposed to sit back and trust these people that have worked in these organizations for what, 10-20 years and didn't care before, who didn't see it as an issue, and we're supposed to think that they're the ones that can fix this now. Like, they've just not got the right people on the team, have they? And it's the culture of the organizations. Sorry?
Just you've hit the nail on the head there, really, haven't you?
Yeah. That was one of my points I've written down, culture of the organizations.
I think one of the things that I was thinking of about national parks is that obviously last year when the weather was good and we were all limited as to where we could go, loads of people who'd never been to national parks before went. So, you know, that was a great, and hopefully some of those people carry on going, because I think because people couldn't go, you know, far away or to other places, hopefully people had an experience of going out into the countryside that they wouldn't normally do.
I do think that has been the case, because one or two of the organizations have said they've seen kind of like an increase in participation, and I think that because with the COVID and how the lockdown rules were, and everyone just started exploring their own area. But I also think as well with Brexit and travel, and I think that people are a bit more conscious now of actually, you know, making the best most of the UK, and they've actually seen that, you know, we don't have nice weather, but we have a really, really nice country. Like, there's loads of really, really nice places to go.
Yeah, and hey, remember lockdown 1? What do you mean the weather wasn't nice? It was fantastic.
Oh yeah.
Glorious.
It was brilliant. Yeah. Very different to now, actually. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, we've got I'm a white middle-class middle-aged man, by the way. Hi.
We also had a question from Carol, who asks, how have you been managing your group during the pandemic? I mean, I'm sure that's been, you know, quite a difficult thing to coordinate groups through.
It has been really difficult. So in a few of the tiers, we could go out in groups of up to 30, but then it became really difficult to manage them, because we used it just to be like a free-for-all and anyone could come. But then once we had to start limiting the numbers, we had to get people to register on Eventbrite. And then, because things are free on Eventbrite, everyone will sign up, and then you just feel like loads of people are missing out. But I just felt really under pressure. I wish I had more leaders, because so many more people wanted to get out during lockdown, that when we were finally able to put the walks on, I just felt like a bit disappointed for them that they hadn't been able to, you know, get out. But there are some activities that we have still been able to do, like we've still managed to do some caving, and we still managed to do some potholing, because that was like in a group of up to 6. And I've been thinking that maybe we should do some online stuff to keep people engaged, but I don't know how zoomed out people are. But I don't know if that's me that's zoomed out and I'm just making an excuse to not do it.
Well, let's see what people say. Could you answer that question, everybody, for Rhiane? Because it is, you know, if there is a demand for online stuff, it'd be good for you to know, wouldn't it? Because I think, I mean, like, these events are getting well attended. I think at the moment, because the evenings are so dark, you know, it's dark at 4:30, isn't it? And we can't go very far, and people are stuck at home. I think anything for a bit of excitement, I think you'd get a good response.
Hope so.
Christine says it would be good to have some online events.
Yeah.
Some online events. Okay. Maybe we could do some. I like the ones that have got like quizzes in me, because I just feel like they're just a bit more engaging ones. I like the quizzes. Easy
Our
stuff.
next event is an online quiz. You'll be
Oh, is
pleased to
it?
know, Rhiane. Yes. Well,
Oh.
welcome to come.
Yeah.
Oh, I think I might not be doing anything, so I probably should come.
Yeah, do you have any plans?
I don't know. Only another Zoom. Like I've been, do you know what? I've been double booking Zooms. That's how kind of we're moving these days, 2021.
Yeah. Well, a couple of people have said that they'd be interested in online events, so that's really good. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like some online events.
Yeah. Yeah.
And obviously looking forward to being able to get outside properly again very soon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody's asked about live streaming walks would be good. So I guess that would mean going on a walk and filming it as you went along. Is that what that means?
I don't know, because I wonder, would someone just be watching me on the phone walking? I don't understand that.
Well, I guess again it could be an inspiration for about where to go. Because I was going to ask you actually, how do you choose where to do your walks, and how do you plan them? I know you said you didn't plan your first one; it just sort of happened. But I bet you plan them now, don't you?
Yeah, well, I have to plan them now because so last year, no, not last year. Yeah, in 2019, one of like the early walks we did, I actually got us lost. So basically, when I set up the group, I kind of just thought, it's just kind of like a community. We're all friends. We're all just kind of going together, and I never really felt like I'm the leader of these people. So I've planned this walk to go to Dovestone, which is like Saddleworth, Moors in like Oldham, I think it is. And someone in the group had said that they'd been there already. And I'd kind of like looked at this route online, and I don't know why I even thought that I would be able to do it because I couldn't map read then. But anyway, we set off and I just took the wrong turn in, and then we ended up on the moor, and it was like really, really poor visibility, and it was really, really windy, and someone fell over. And I just remember thinking, oh my goodness, can you imagine if we have to ring like mountain rescue or something? Like, I don't even think I knew how to ring mountain rescue then.
Yeah. So now you do plan them, and yeah.
So now I plan them. So basically what I'll do is I get most of my inspiration off like Instagram. So just see where other people have been, or just like random websites. So I'll just type in like Peak District walks, and then I'll go on like a recce with my friend and plan it, and then take the group the next time. So I've never got as lost since.
Right, great.
Yeah, so you're sticking with me now.
Sometimes getting lost is the adventure, or is kind of the best part of going on a walk, or it has been for when I've gone out. I'm always lost.
Yeah. Well, since the beginning of lockdown, since I've just been kind of like exploring my local area, I think that it's made me a lot more comfortable getting lost, because you never even really lost. So you can just go wandering, and then you know where you're going to end up. And I think that's one of the things that helped me with the night hiking. So I wouldn't have usually had that much confidence to go out at night hiking with my head torch on, but I think like knowing my local area just makes me a bit more confident there as well.
Yeah. So do you get worried about going out at night, or do you, as you say, you just feel confident now?
Yeah, I just feel confident. I'm not scared, because I just think no one's just hanging around on the off chance that I'm going to come along. The only people that you really see are dog walkers. And I think the one thing you should be mindful of is that if you see something running in the grass with lights on, it's these dog collar things, and the first time you see them, they probably will really frighten you.
Yeah, it's true. They're sort of flashing green and blue things that they have on. Yeah, but it's sort of, that's like you were talking about earlier about adventure, Rhiane. It's like at the moment we're all having to make adventure right on our doorsteps, aren't we? And like we're going out at night somewhere familiar, but in unfamiliar circumstances. That makes an adventure, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Ooh, we've got another question. It says, have you always been interested in the outdoors since you were a child? So when I was younger, I used to do loads of athletics. So I used to do like cross country, rounders, netball. So I was always kind of outside. And I think when you're younger, you're always kind of at the park. But like most of the places that I've been quite lucky to live near like quite big country parks. So I suppose I've always taken it for granted that I've kind of like been outside, but I've never really considered the countryside as a place where I would technically recreate, because it wasn't really the kind of recreation I was used to as I was younger. But the reason why I started hiking was just because I was on the train going through the Peak District, And I was just watching people get on and off, and I was thinking, like, it's really beautiful, and it really does make you just want to get out there and like see what's there. And that was one of the main reasons that I started hiking like 2 years ago.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, yeah, you're right. It is just there, and it's there for everybody, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you have a favourite walk or place or adventure that you've been on in the last couple of years?
Oh yeah, so so last year, me and one of the girls in the group, we decided that we was going to go and do this Welsh coastal walk, but we so overpacked our bags. I think was mine 18. I think mine was like 15 kilograms. Well, I had like a full-size chopping board in my bag because we honestly thought that we was going to do so much chefing, and literally on like the first night we just had to offload absolutely loads of food. But it was so funny because it was just all new to us. So it was like the first time we'd wild camped, and just like the first time we'd done like any kind of long distance walking. So like every little bit of it felt like a bit of an adventure, really.
Yeah, I bet it was. What was the weather like for you?
It was nice as well, because when did we go? We went in September. So it was
Right.
nice weather all the days, yeah. But then I got a massive blister on my foot, and we ended up coming home. But we met so many cool people on that adventure. So we met this woman one day when we was walking across the beach, and she said, "Oh, I think it's really interesting what you're doing, and if you're ever struggling for somewhere to camp, let me know." And she gave us a phone number. So when I got this really big blister on my foot, I was like, let's ring Helen. And we rang her, and she came and picked us up, and we camped in her back garden. And then she let us like use a shower and stuff, and like made us breakfast. And then the next day she dropped us at the train station as well.
Brilliant, brilliant.
Team
Oh, that's really
Helen.
nice. Yeah.
We love Helen.
Yeah, Helen was really cool. And I also did my first ever hitchhike. So because I needed to get to the shop to see if I could get like a plaster or something. So I was like walking up this road. Someone said it was like 1.5 miles, and I thought I'd just put my thumb out. And then this woman stopped, and she was called Kat, and she happened to be a hiker. And she tried to take me to a chemist, but the chemist was closed. So then she took me back to where I'd started from, and I took a picture of her van, and then I found her on Facebook, and now we're Facebook friends.
Oh, brilliant, brilliant. I like it. It's I tell you, the connecting power of social media is fantastic. How hard would it have been for you to do this 20 years ago?
Yeah, true.
Without social media, without these ways of connecting up, it's just they've been so much harder. So yeah, it's brilliant, brilliant. I was going to ask you, Rhiane, what advice have you got for anybody who's just wanting to walk and not confident, or hasn't got around to it, or have you got advice for how to start off for people?
Yeah, I'd say just start small and just maybe start like walking around your block. Because I remember once a couple of years ago, went on this like wellness course, and it said one of the things that you should do to add to your wellness is every day if you take the same route, then one day you should take a different route. So I think, say for example, you just started walking around your block one day and then taking a different route, and then started looking up instead of down, like it just have a different perspective on things.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's making things different. And again, it all relates to the situation we're in at the moment, doesn't it? With COVID restrictions, we've got to try and make the best of the little changes we can, I think.
Yeah, the little things. I've really been appreciating the little things actually during COVID. I think that, I don't know if this is an unpopular opinion, but I've really been enjoying lockdown.
Yeah, it'd be different for everyone, won't it?
Aspects of it. I've been enjoying some aspects of it, and I think it's just been kind of like just being in my own little bubble, in like my own little like world, and just like exploring my little area that I've enjoyed. Someone's asked what walks have we got planned. So at the moment, we've not got any walks planned, but we do have some new walk leaders. So we're going to be having some new people in Sheffield and someone else in Yorkshire. We've got someone in Essex and someone in the southeast, and someone else in Birmingham as well. So I'm really excited that once after lockdown, we'll be able to have like loads more chapters, so more people will be able to get out then.
Yeah, it'll be a real network then, won't it?
Yeah.
Taking over the world.
Yeah, I would love that.
Yeah, I know you said that a key thing is getting people trained up, isn't it? So that you know, your members can lead their own activities and walks and things. Have you got any other ambitions for the group at the moment? Can you see ahead very far, or just you know, for this year, or?
I don't, to be honest, I feel like I have too many ambitions for the group, and it's just a bit of kind of like what's that, a spider diagram at the moment. But yeah, I think the training and we're doing like these healing retreats. So we've been doing a GoFundMe since last year because I wanted to kind of focus a lot more on mental health, because obviously everybody knows that there's like fantastic benefits of, you know, going outside and mental health. But I just think with the pandemic as well, I think like the Black community was, oh no, not the pandemic, Black Lives Matter. Yeah, so with Black Lives Matter, I feel like it had a bit more of an impact on the community, and I'd like to kind of teach people ways of how you kind of like coping mechanisms of dealing with it, really.
Yeah, oh, that sounds good. So well, you're planning, are you planning some as soon as we can? Is that
Yes, we're planning some as soon as we can, but it's been really frustrating because we've been having to keep putting them off, but also I don't want us to be limited on the numbers that can go, if you know what I mean, because when maybe if we're going to a tier, it might just be a case that it's only 30. I'd like it to be a bit more than that, but we've got loads of cool activities planned. So I'd like to do like some forest bathing, so like a bit like a sensory thing, and kind of help people reconnect in a different way. And some other therapeutic activities like painting, some yoga and some meditation, and we'll also be doing like outdoor activities as well. So I'm really looking forward to being able to actually plan them and go on them, because I think by the end of it, everyone's really going to need a retreat, aren't they?
Yeah. Well, they definitely need connection with nature. That's what we're all crying out for, isn't it? So yeah, that sounds absolutely brilliant. Yeah.
Charlotte asks, are there any apps you'd recommend for discovering local routes and route planning?
Ooh, so I use Komoot, and I also use OS Map. So I like OS Maps because it'll basically, it'll show you where you are, and you can put in like what kind of distance you want, what difficulty you want, and it'll bring up all the different routes in your area, and then you can literally just press it and it GPSs you, so it tells you when you've gone off route, which I like because I always need that. But Komoot does that, but then it talks to you and tells you when you're off route, so it'll say like the path is 70 yards to your left, and I think that's also quite handy as well. And with Komoot as well, it's a bit more like a social network, so you can like follow your friends and you can tag people in walks, and it's probably quite good for groups, because say for example I wanted to plan a walk on Komoot, I could say for example tag our Midlands leader, and then she could, you know, follow that walk as well if she ever wanted to.
Well, that sounds really good. That's really good advice as well for people.
Yeah.
And then Christine asks, and I suppose it'll differ all the time, won't it? But she asks, how often do you go hiking? Maybe in your peak.
Oh, in our peak. So in our peak, we used to go like twice a month. And so it used to be like every 2 weeks. We started off just doing Sundays, but then we had loads of people want us to do Saturdays. So we kind of like alternated it. So yeah, it does feel like a long time since we actually did real group hikes, really.
Yeah, I bet it does.
Yeah.
I bet it does.
Yeah.
Okay, are there any more questions? Otherwise, now might be the time, Rhiane, to play the Countryfile clip. You might have to look away.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, I'm looking away now because I can't watch myself back. I might just mute it.
Do you just want to leave for 5 minutes? So, Rhiane, I looked at your website earlier today, and you've been everywhere. You're famous. But Rhiane was recently on the most recent episode of Countryfile, and it's actually really lovely. Rhiane hasn't watched it, but it is really wonderful, and so we thought it might be nice to just play it. So I'm going to see if I can get it up now.
And if you've got any other questions while we're watching, do type them in.
Yeah, do type them in.
I can't find my mute button.
Whenever I'm outdoors going for a walk, I always feel like my stress levels disappear just a little bit, and we know it's really good for our well-being So that's my plan for the year, to spend more time outdoors. So I've come for a walk here at Broxbourne Park in Hertfordshire. Growing up in Bradford, we were never far away from stunning countryside. 15 minutes in any direction and you're on the moors. So as a family, we were out walking every weekend, getting that hit of feel-good endorphins from the fresh air and drinking in the lush scenery. Such happy childhood memories running around on the moors, but we never saw many other Asian families doing the same. And I'm not really sure that's changed much either. In fact, a survey from Sport England last year found that Black and Asian British were less than half as likely to take part regularly in hiking or mountain walking as others. Someone who's bucking the trend, though, is Rhiane Fatinikun, who's set up Black Girls Hike. And guess what? She's out hiking up north somewhere right now, and I am going to virtually join her, even though my walking is meant to be a bit of a digital detox. Of course, if it wasn't for the pandemic, I'd have been there in person. Here we go. Is it going to work?
Rhiane!
Hi!
Hey, how you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
Where are you?
We're in Yarrow Valley Country Park, which is in Chorley.
Very nice. So tell me about Black Girls Hike. Why did you set it up?
So we set the group up at the beginning of 2019.
Why? What got you started? Where did the idea come from?
The idea just came from a train journey that I was on, actually. So I was going through the Peak District and I was coming back from Barnsley and I was thinking, oh, I'd quite like to take up hiking. And I was like, I'm going to do that this year.
And what's the reaction been? What's the response?
It's been amazing. So, like, we started off in Manchester and now we've got a group in the Midlands and we've got a group in London. We're opening some new chapters after the new year. And we've started doing other outdoor activities now. So we do, like, climbing, caving, we've done some potholing as well. So we're just trying to try everything new, really.
Why do you think so few Black and Asian people are out in the British countryside?
I think there's loads of reasons for it, really. I think it's where we live. A lot of us tend to live in, like, cities, for example. None of my family did any hiking, so we did do sports and we are kind of, like, utilising the outdoor spaces, but just not the countryside.
Yeah, it's so true, isn't it? If it's not part of your culture, if it's not something that you naturally have access to, why would you? Why would you even think about it as even being a space for you, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And how important is it that you are a group of Black women doing it together?
I just think it's really important for us to have that safe space where we can explore the outdoors together, but also in a group where we actually share the same experiences. So this is Jade. And this is Jadella.
Hi! Hey, how you doing, girls? You enjoying yourselves?
Yes, we're having a good time, thank you.
Yes, thanks. How are you?
I'm having a great time in the rain.
We're actually dry, so we're doing okay.
Come on, talk to me. Tell me why you joined the group.
I was in
Quite a rigid cycle of work, home, sleep.
not getting out much, so it's just been brilliant. And
I've ventured out on my own as well, and I wouldn't have had the confidence to do that without being part of the group in the first place.
And how much fun do you guys have?
loads of fun. We're always joking, singing as we walk. Yeah, singing, dancing. We don't just walk.
Well, keep it up. Keep the walking going. I hope you get loads of people joining the gang.
Thank you.
All right.
And yeah, I look forward to seeing your numbers growing. I think it's really important you do what you do. You're a really good role model and an inspiring, and well done you.
Oh, thank you.
See you later.
Bye.
Enjoy your walk. Bye. Bye. See you, Rhiane.
Bye.
Oh, well, that wasn't too bad, was it? I quite liked that.
How was
good.
it actually filming with them? What was that like?
It was really nice when we was filming because we'd like been in the Guardian like the day before or that day. So as we was actually walking around, this woman walked past us and she was like, "Oh my goodness, I've just read about you this morning in the newspaper," and she couldn't believe that she'd like bumped into us. And then she started following us then on social media, and then she came on our next walk. And I just thought it was really nice how she'd kind of like read about us and then seen us and then felt inspired to go walking, and then now she's kind of like part of our group as well.
Yeah,
That's
it's
wonderful.
fantastic, isn't it? It's just fantastic. Yeah.
Molly asks, do you have any must-have equipment that you take with you on hikes?
I don't have any must have, but one of the little things that I've bought recently that I quite like is like this little sitting mat thing. So you don't have to get your bum wet when you sit down, and you kind of like just fold it up. It's like a foam mat. And I think that's quite handy. But I think that, to be honest, I'll have to admit, I don't feel like my bag's as full as other experienced hikers. Like I didn't even carry a first aid kit until probably late last year. I shouldn't admit that, but I have done a first aid kit course now. So if you do want to come on my walk and slip, I could help you.
Brilliant, brilliant. Yeah. Well, I've always just got lots of flasks of tea in my rucksack, so I might look full and organised, but really it's just tea to drink.
Just tea.
Tea and snacks.
I used to always take boiled eggs and a cheese sandwich, but then all the people in my group will tell you that I'm always talking about food on the hike. You can always hear me being like, because I'm always thinking about what I'm going to eat at the end or what I'm going to have for my dinner. And I kind of feel like I do like hiking, but you know, that thought of food always keeps you going, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah. The excitement of what you're going to have afterwards. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, especially the pudding. But yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Great. So unless there are any more questions or anything else that you want to talk about, Rhiane?
Oh no, I've got to the end of my notes now.
She's at the end of her notes. Something that I just wanted to end on. So obviously, I think we're all feeling quite inspired and ready to get out, and of course it still is lockdown. So what I wanted to ask was, you know, what places are you excited to visit after lockdown? I think that might be a nice one to end on. So if people could let us know in the comments section, and Rhiane, you know, where are you excited to explore?
Scotland. Oh, Scotland, like, so I went to the Scottish Highlands for the first time in like 2019, and I'm one of them people where every time I discover something that I think is new, like I literally didn't stop talking about it for ages. Like, Scotland's not some new place, but I couldn't know it was that beautiful. And I was just like literally in awe the whole time. So my friend was driving and I was just filming outside the window and then making a stop at like waterfalls so we could take pictures.
Mm. Yeah, it is such a beautiful part of the world, isn't it?
Isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, and so much space.
Yeah, and wilderness.
Yeah.
Just really beautiful.
Ooh, yeah, I'd like to go to the Brecon Beacons as well, definitely.
Yeah. Well, as you said at the start, there's so many places, aren't there, in this country that are beautiful and accessible for walkers. You know, we're lucky to have so many footpaths, aren't we, as well?
Yeah.
Just in the Norfolk coast, which is just beautiful. I'm from Suffolk originally, so very familiar with walking along the Norfolk coast, and it is just beautiful. It's a really beautiful place. Fantastic. Okay. I think that's everything. I think on behalf of everyone who's attended today, I'd just like to say a huge thank you to you, Rhiane, for this talk. It's been really interesting to hear about you and your experiences and what you're up to with Black Girls Hike. I think we're all really excited to kind of see where you take this next and what's next for you. It's been really exciting to kind of watch you kind of grow really and become famous. And so, you know, who knows where you'll crop up next. So huge thank you to you. I will drop the Black Girls Hike website. So I'll drop that in the comment section, but if you just look up Black Girls Hike UK, you can find it.
Can I just add that? So now, because we are currently in lockdown, I think you are allowed to meet up with one person from outside your household. So in our Facebook group, if you join our Facebook group, then there's like people in all different areas who you could probably like meet up with for a hike. And one of the girls in our Facebook group, she last week she like created this form so that everybody can put where they're from and then make it easier for you to actually be able to find people. But I love that she did that for the community. Like, I didn't ask her to, but she just thought that she wanted to help, and that's the kind of people that we have in Black Girls Hike. I love it.
That's a wonderful idea, like a buddy system.
Yeah, like a buddy system. So so join the Facebook group.
Great. Yeah, and you're on Instagram as well, aren't you?
Yeah, we're on Instagram and Twitter. I only have a retweet on Twitter, so don't follow. You can follow us, but don't tweet us.
So yeah, make sure to give Rhiane and Black Girls Hike a follow. And yeah, we'll have more events, so keep an eye on our website for more events in the future. And just have a lovely evening, everyone. Thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, thanks, Rhiane. It's brilliant. Thanks.
Oh, someone came to my London walk.
Right,
Thanks
thank you,
very much.
everyone.
Oh, thank you,
you.
everyone. Bye.
Bye.
See ya. Thank you. Thank you.